Alright, what's up, guys? It's your boy, The Fallen Sanctum here, and we're on tierlistmaker.com. Sorry, tiermaker.com, where you can make your own tier list. And I figured I'd talk about I have like an in-depth list. Oops. Where to put it? Where to put it? Oh, right. Open. I have a list of super awesome supports, but we'll get there when we get there. So that's like for the end part of the video. But let's talk about supports in pro play and the various different play styles that people can play. Sure, there's some champions you see that are missing, but those are like niche one tricks and like amateur leagues and shit like that. It's honestly it's in the McDonald's and Fortnite tier list. It's just never gonna make it happen. But let's start. We're gonna cover everything but the most must play right now. Now, let's add a row above niche, and we're gonna call it bad. So League of Legends at the end of the day, for the most of it, is really a player versus player thing, not a champion versus champion thing. There are some champions that just naturally have more advantages versus specific other champions, like Caitlyn versus short range champions. The like the cupcake interaction with the Zonias, you get a perma. You get basically a guaranteed root, so it does a lot of damage. So Zonia is not the most effective item versus a champion like Caitlyn because she will find you, she will stop you, and you will almost basically die if the Caitlyn has damage. But let's talk about the champions that don't get a lot of recognition and, might be seen as a little bit more of solo queue picks and stuff like that to begin with. So we're going to start off, we're going to put my boy Blitzcrank in the niche category. Now, this man can turn the tide of a fight, but the reason why he's niche is because if ever you play Blitzcrank into a team with big chunky front lines that your AD carry doesn't want to see, there is a chance that Blitzcrank hooks the tank into your AD carry. Because, AD carry tends to be close to Blitzcrank. And, yeah, sometimes things go bad when you hook the Nasus into your low HP Caitlyn. Bonk! Death! And that's honestly why I'm going to put Pyke, Renata. I'm going to put Pyke, Renata, and yeah, there you go. I'm going to put these in the niche champion pool. Now they're what we call hookers. Of course, you notice Big Daddy Nautilus himself is not in the niche tier list because Big Daddy Not is a must-play champion, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So the reason why these are niche champions, and I'll summarize real quick. Blitzcrank doesn't really fit with every kind of comp. Has amazing synergies with champions like Maokai. Get a guaranteed hook if you don't have CC immunity like Cassandra W or like Nefiri and stuff like that. So it can be really hard to play against, but it's really easy to predict the way they want to play. And you can, especially if the Blitzcrank comes out early, you can build a team that laughs at Blitzcrank. Like you can pick something like a Leona support, so that way the Leona gets pulled into the enemy team and then she has a free way to get onto their AD carry, and things can go bad from there. Pyke cannot gain HP, so if he does not go Celestial Opposition, he has 1400. He has like 1400 HP at level 18. That means an AD carry's crit auto can sometimes just kill Pyke in one shot. Pyke will not build any armor. Pyke will not build any magic. Well, he might build a Maul Malmorius, but he will never build any actual MR items. Because all HP items that he builds or whatever turn into AD. Yeah. Renata, very good against teams that love auto-attacking, but outside of that and being really, really good into something like Zyra Khan, kind of falls flat sometimes. Although the hostile takeover sounds like the most incredibly busted skill in the game, it really isn't. And Thresh, well, it's no longer the Mad Life era of gaming, so he's been power crept. He's niche because he can be very useful sometimes, but has not seen many and or any good results as of late. Now let's go over into the bad support category. I'm gonna throw a bunch of shit here. There's more stuff to be added to niche, but now let's start populating. Let's start populating this. Um, Now you notice I'm gonna put some very popular champions in the bad category, and I'll explain why I consider them to be bad. Let's see what else is there here that I would like to put into the bad category. I feel like, yeah, there we go. I'm just doing another once over. There we go. Okay, so now to explain the bad category, I feel like these champs, especially in pro play, are just useless. They're just useless. They shouldn't be played, especially in the support role, because remember, the support role, at most, you have 2 to 3 items, gros max. Tops. I'm talking like 50 minutes, you're not full build. Nope. If you're full build as a support, it means you've been taking away resources from your team, and your carries are going to be lagging for it. So, Mumu, a worse Leona, has no super tank option, reduces auto attacks, and yeah, good CC, but just honestly a worse Leona, worse stat lines, worse item build because people tend to go AP on him, and if you go AP on a Mumu, well, he's already just not gonna be tanky. Senna got nerfed into the ground for support, so she's like an 80 carry now, but there's just many better 80 carries to play. And support wise, you never really get put into a point where support Senna does anything. Lux, the obvious kill stealer of realms, ender of dreams, e-girl, turbo max, support. Not worth playing. Honestly, doesn't do any. That doesn't do enough. Only ever really paired with Caitlyn, if anything, could be justified as niche because Carrier plays Lux when Guma Yuki plays Caitlyn. Oh my god. Slurp, 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 slurp. Okay, enough of Carrier's cock milk, like the copium, the opium. Stop complaining. Annie hasn't been playable support in a while, but sometimes you see some dumb people play. Melio, people call it Lulu 2.0, but I call it the ICE raid because whoever plays Melio should get deported. This champion's useless for the most of it. Zareth, AP poke support. Move on, get with the times, go play Fortnite. Zyra, get with the times, go. Actually, you know what? We're just gonna put them in the Fortnite category. Yeah, you want to be a carry player? Go play Fortnite. Janna, I mean, the era of Kennen getting shit done is like long gone, and that's when like Janna saw the most play as like a super awesome Omega counterpick to Kennen because you could just push him back over the wall in the mid lane and stuff when he would flash ult, and that was the most hilarious thing ever. But ever since then, you know, Janna kind of dog shit. Elise requires too many resources, and honestly, I prefer to see Elise as a jungler than as a support. Because while she does have some niche burst damage, Elise puts your team on the 20-minute clock. If you don't win by 20 minutes, the Elise lead kind of just means nothing. Sona, lowest base HP in the game, and support's already limited in terms of money. I feel like there are certain scenarios where she could be fucking fantastic, but for the most of it, it feels like Sona is pretty ass. It's a solo queue only champion. And my boy Greggy, he's just not fit to play support anymore. They've given him too many nerfs. Too many nerfs. And now let's actually let's delete the McDonald's row, and let's just call Fortnite McDonald's. So if you want to play these champions in support, just go. Go get yourself a McDonald's application. Okay, I'm honestly, since the Yumi rework, I'm actually gonna put her in niche. I feel like she can work in certain scenarios, but I feel like she isn't that amazing anymore. Now let me just look at my not my tier list real quick. My Alistar, Nico, Rel, Rakan, Nautilus, Alistar, Nico, Rel, Rakan, Nautilus, Bard. Yeah, okay. Bard Lulubuffy. Alright, so now in the good section, we have champions that are just genuinely good on support, whether they're engaged, enchanters, neutralizers, and like utility supports or whatever, right? So you got Braum, master of breaking projectiles. Honestly, Braum shines the most when there are multiple champions that he can fuck over ultimates with and stuff like that, like Ornn plus Jinx or Ornn plus MF, you know, like just champions where his Unbreakable truly shines. Karma fantastic when you have teams that need speed, but other than that, can feel very lackluster. And if it, like some people build Shirelias on Karma, and you're really not supposed to. You're supposed to go Redemption Moonstone on Enchanters. Because if you don't, then why are you playing an Enchanter? Just play Engage. Morgana. Black Shield's nice, but it's been a little bit power crap. I still feel like the Dark Binding lasting almost 3 seconds is a little stupid. So, you know, a clutch Dark Binding can honestly, it's like for pick comps. Like you could run Caitlyn Morgana, and I feel like it could do some really good stuff. Nami, great sustain, works super well with Lucian, but it has some other AD carries that it can be played with. So overall, good CC, good sustain, good pick potential, and has a utility ability in the E to give your AD carry or your carry some on hit slows. Mao Guy, best disengaged champ in the game. The saplings give insane vision. Of course, you would rather want him in the jungle, but right now, you know, he's a little bit less favored in the jungle just because there's so many good jungles to ride. Why did my music stop? Hello? I didn't say you could stop, motherfucker! Alright. Great, there's a car being lit up outside. Hey, remember to go to BMO if you need money. Nah, I'm kidding. Not sponsored. But yeah, no, Mao Guy, well, feels good on support because you only really need an item to really make him work. Please don't go Leandres. You don't need Leandres to make Maokai viable. Taric, same thing. The Taric, a bit of a mana whore. Really likes the brawly and high risk 5v5s. And I feel like that can be great. Seraphine has situationally one of the best engage ults in the game. But, you know, it's really based on your opponents being grouped up. If your opponents aren't grouped up, then you lose so much value on this ultimate because it kind of extends when it hits champions. Zillion, the revive can actually come in super clutch, and we've seen it at least in my local leagues where Zillion is a super threat, very often banned against specific players that know how to play this champion. It does look fantastic. Soraga is another champion that, depending on the draft, sometimes can just 1v9. Tom Kench, fantastic in keeping your hyper carries alive, and Leona, just a fantastic engaged champion. The reason why it's not in the must-play category is just there are in the unranked section right now. There are just champions that make Leona's life a living hell, and she really can't play. Now, I'm gonna move this over here. I'm gonna give you a once over so you can look at it real quick. Okay, now you don't need to see the script for this video. My boy Alistar, the main man, one of the most popular supports in the history of the game. Let's motherfucking go. Let's do pros and cons. He's a big, chunky boy. Man's got a good HP pool, great engage abilities. The knock-up and the movement ability from the Headbutt Pulverize, fantastic. Provides a good peel because his E is a stun. Sustain. The passive heals everyone in range, plus himself. Himself scales better. His teammate scales a little less, but HP scaling. So technically, a long run with overrun and a long game with overrun, get a decent amount of sustain. The ult makes him the ultimate super omega Giga Chad do. The Giga Chunky boy. And last but not least, the champion can run Hex Flash. Hex Flash, one of the best things in the game. And if you can run Hex Flash, you automatically just get even more brownie points because it's like, you know, white, black, and Chinese at the same time, bro. It's fucking crazy. The cons, though, he's scared of Silas. Silas takes Alistar to Peg City and really just turns his ass cheeks into a McGangbang. So that's pretty scary. Very kiteable. The champion, you know, once he's used that WQ combo, kind of a sitting duck, not really a fast champion, easily countable. And as with a lot of champions, he has non-existential damage, so it feels like he'll almost be healing people when he goes in. So you cannot count on my boy Alistar to do everything. Now you got probably the rank 1 support in the game right now. This champion honestly just isn't balanced. It's fucking ridiculous. All right, so she's got poke and harass because she's a rank support. She go brrr. Uh, but also she builds AP. If you go Zax instead of Celestial Opposition on Nico, bro, McDonald's. The W bug abuse, I call it bug abuse because it feels like it's so not intended. Nico naturally can't tank 11 turret shots, but you know what doesn't trigger the heat mechanic on a turret? Nico as a minion and or cannon minion, where cannon minions have double the HP of regular minions. So she can end up tanking about 11 turret shots at levels 2 or 3. Yes, 11 turret shots. That's almost like 20 seconds of just free diving, which is crazy. Amazing engage ultimate. Honestly, the pop up, one of the coolest ultimates in the game, and creates some of the hypest moments when you get like that minion shape splitter clone activation. Because if you're in minion form, by the way, they do not see the wind up for the animation, so they got caught on the knockup frame. And then utility major items, builds, Zonias, and rocket belts. So other ways to engage other than just flashing, but flash definitely very, very, very important. And the vision scouting tool using the W, it gets extended when you do a laugh, a dance, a taunt, or whatever. Okay, so now about the cons. There isn't much, but she's useless when behind. So, I mean, to be fair, all supports are useless when behind. But Nico specifically, when behind, will just get one shot without anything being able to be done. She's not your traditional engaged champion, so she is a mage. Doesn't build any armor or magic resist outside of the zone is. Is very, very, very squishy. Only builds a single HP item throughout the entire duration of the game, and it's normally just a rocket belt. Sometimes you'll see, like, if they have enough money, you'll see the redemption, but that's very, very rare. Doesn't mesh with every AD carry and needs specific style comps to work. I don't feel that Nico is the be-all best friend. Y'all do everything for fun. So you definitely need to build a comp where the Nico can succeed. Like Nocturne Nico. Because you need stuff to be able to follow up the Nico engage, right? And she has no sustain, so if she gets poked out in lane, often will lead to Nico sitting around, sitting under the turret and not being able to do much. Now let's move on to my main girl, Rel. The reason why she's behind Alistar is because Alistar is the #1 answer in the game to this fucking champion. And often, when you want to play the Rel minigame, you have to ban my boy Big Ali. Alright, so pros. She's a big, chunky gal. She basically has a horse strap-on dildo or whatever. The mountable horse is basically just, it's... I'll let your imagination do it, but she can pop it on and off and on and off and on and off. So, that's kind of suspicious. Fantastic engage. I'll be honest. I think the Magnet Storm, one of the best ultimates in the game in terms of engage. When you crash down Magnet Storm, it's like one of the best engage combos in the game. Only beaten by, I want to say, Rakan, but she uses shields. So, and she's got heavy crowd control. Not only does she shred armor and MR with every basic attack, but she shield shatters. So definitely very useful. Cons, she hates, just like my boy Alistar, hates range supports because they go brrr. And no one likes range supports. If you play range supports, grrr. She has no sustain, so can't be poked out. And yeah, the non-existential damage, Rel does even less damage than a champion like Alistar. So, it's kind of saucy-wassy. Now, to wrap it up, on the Giga Chadley engagers. Well, we still have 2 more Giga Chadley engagers to talk about, but let's talk about probably, I want to say, the #2 support in the game currently. Actually, you know what? We'll put him at #1. I feel like Rakan has He's got the most, he's got the best engage options in the game. He's got a knock up, some super jumps, and he's got a charm. A CC that's not easily avoidable. If he makes contact with you, well, you're gonna be choking on his medium sized schlong. He's got sustain and he's got shields. And that's really all Rakan brings to the table. He has no damage, is squishy, and technically excels better with Zaya than without Zaya, but is still a pretty good support by himself without it. Now let's talk about my boy Nautilus. Is the big daddy from Bioshock, the big chunky boy. The Q has aimbot. Honestly, the Q sometimes you'll aim it straight and it'll go wah 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 wah. It'll just aimbot onto the enemy target. Amazing CC, good damage output. Cons, if you go like something like if you don't go aftershock on Nautilus, the problem is it feels like he goes in, he'll get one shot. Linkin Park is the meta half the time. If you get the joke, you get the joke, and he's got no sustain. He does have a shield though. Now let's talk about Bard. All right. I feel like Bard is a must play in Pro because he's a Mongolian throat singing simulator. Look that up. It's kind of funny. Unique and variety builds are meta relevant. You can kind of build whatever you want on Bard, and it kind of works out. And I think the biggest thing that makes Bard OP is that not only does he give little teacups or chocolate milks or hot cocos or whatever, he has little sustain shrines that he can go give like the mid laner or the top laner, or he can give his AD carry. But the biggest thing that makes Bard super fucking OP is he kind of disable. He has a disable. He can turn the turret off, and he can stop the Herald, which is god tier. He can stop. He can pause the Baron fight, he can pause the Dragon fight, he can pause team fights. Honestly, it's like super fucking broken. I feel like the biggest cons on Bard is that one, he cares more about chimes than gameplay. You feel like you got to get to a certain amount of chimes in the game for Bard to truly be this like Monka W Jeffrey Epstein champion. He's an absentee support. He will leave lane more often than not. He can feel very useless in certain team comps and at times, especially if you're behind. Because even with like a good Bard ultimate, sometimes it just doesn't really matter. And he's comp based. You can't just pick Bard because you want to pick Bard, you know. But I feel like he has enough pros to put that goose sauce in him, you know. Now let's talk about our only e-girl that has made the list. If you play this cute, adorable grandma, your Giga Chat. She's the best girl for saving poorly positioned carries. The shields, the heals, the extra life, the polymorph. Honestly, Lulu does it all. She's a versatile wife. She's got insane poke in her ass. You may think that a champion that doesn't build any AP items, you know, wouldn't be an offensive threat early on, but honestly, the help picks and the picks and the help picks options with the glitter lance really sometimes can just zone enemy supports in the early parts of the laning phase. She's also fucking adorable. Now the cons, there are two cons. One, she's an enchanter, so super fucking squishy. And two, she desires late game carries. She does not want to play with mid game AD carries like MF, Jhin, Draven, champions like that. She wants the late game, the 200 years experience Jeffrey Epstein's. She wants to be able to protect the people that'll actually get things done in the late game. And now, last but not least, we have one of my favorite supports. It's the adorable fanged vampire lolly Poppy. Now, she's got awesome engage. She stops people from dashing. She's got the super hammer. And she's got a dash. Very shield dependent though, so let's start with her cons first. Poppy, like Leona, very often goes in to die. So you will start a team fight and you will know that you will not come out of it. It's a little bit crazy, but I mean it is what it is. Now on to the pros. amazing engage options. Can use her dash ability. Can use her run through on minions to help close the gap when looking for engage option. Her dash, if it hits a target into a wall, will provide a stun. Her Q, frankly, does a lot of damage. And she, with the Keeper's Verdict, she can send people away and really, just start 1v9ing team fights. And she's a big chunky gal. And Poppy is a girl. You cannot change my mind. Plus, she's adorable as fuck. That loading screen border. And that's my in-depth competitive support tier list as to what you should be playing. If you see any supports here that aren't listed while, and you play them while McDonald's, Fortnite, you get the bit. So anyways, thank you guys very much for watching this video, and this will come out tomorrow. We'll see you guys next time.